Hello everyone, I am back. Welcome to episode 38 of Excuse Me, I'm Speaking. This podcast is being brought to you by yours truly. It is me, it is she. You can call me Twinkle, call me SheIsTwinkle, or call me Antoinette. As long as you're calling my name, that's all that matters to me. Now, for today's episode, there are two absolutely unavoidable topics that I have to talk about. Unfortunately, the first one is heartbreaking, but it's necessary that I shed light on it. At some point within this past week, you've heard about this or you've actually watched the video footage of Diddy, as in P. Diddy. He has video footage out there of him assaulting his ex-girlfriend, Cassie. This is not hearsay. CNN is the news source that actually released this video footage and reported it for the masses to see. Just before 1 p.m. Eastern on Friday, CNN published the video in which Combs is seen grabbing, shoving, dragging, and kicking Ventura during an altercation, which occurred around March 2016, that matches allegations in a now settled federal lawsuit filed by Ventura in November of 2023. Now, let me begin by saying I have chosen not to display this horrific video on my platform. But if you go and type it on YouTube, on Google, anywhere, it will pop up. It is terrible to view. So this video released on Friday. Sunday morning, Combs, as in Diddy, released a video on Instagram in which he apologized for the incident he'd previously denied ever happening in the first place.
It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life, but sometimes you gotta do that. I was fucked up. I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now. I went and I sought out professional help. I had to go into therapy and go into rehab. Had to ask God for his mercy and grace. I'm so sorry. But I'm committed to be a better man each and every day. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm truly sorry.
Who did he actually apologize to? Because in the video, he was assaulting Cassie. Not once in that video did he ever apologize to Cassie. I'm a little confused. In my humble opinion, I believe that Diddy feels sorry for himself. He got away with this for years, obviously. If you watch the video, you can tell that he was very comfortable with it. She wasn't even totally caught off guard. It was as if she was accustomed to this type of behavior from him, but she was scared. So, in knowing that, he was probably shocked that this even came out, and he's trying to say, oh, I've done the work, I've gone to rehab, yada, yada, yada. No, you have not. Because if you did, you wouldn't have denied and said that it was a money grab that she was coming for back last year in November when you paid her 24 hours later. That's just my opinion. What y'all think? Y'all let me know below. Beyond my opinion, there's a lot of celebrities that have reacted online and they're saying, hey, that's not okay. That is horrible. I don't condone it. I don't support that. I wish that he could get in trouble for this, blah, blah, blah. Now, as you know, this video occurred back in 2016. I think this is important for all of us to know because most of us, if we're honest, we don't know the laws in our state as it pertains to assault, battery, domestic violence. We don't know the laws. We don't know what the law means when it comes to self-defense. And that's when it's important to look it up because it changes according to state. In this instance, yes, the video is out there and he's been exposed. However, it is not something that he can be put in jail for. But it also does give credibility to the claims in Cassie's lawsuit, because here is a direct correlation to one of the stories that was presented in the lawsuit. Now, I also want to refresh y'all memory. Weeks after she filed the lawsuit and he paid her, Diddy goes onto his Instagram and he posts, "Enough is enough. For the last couple of weeks, I have sat silently and watched people try to assassinate my character, destroy my reputation and my legacy. Sickening allegations have been made against me by individuals looking for a quick payday. Let me be absolutely clear. I did not do any of the awful things being alleged. I will fight for my name, my family, and for the truth." Signed, Sean Diddy Combs. That post did not age well. Oh, but there's another one. Just a couple of weeks ago, he was getting real comfortable. I don't know if y'all follow Diddy on Instagram. Now, I'm not a fan of Diddy, but I follow just in case, he want to tell the truth on there one day, or, he get exposed about something. I want to see his reaction. You like to see people shake a little bit. How you gonna move now? You'll play. What you gonna do? So within the past week on Instagram, before this video came out, he did make a post that said, "Time tells truth." Some may say that he was taunting those that he's affected, and that came back to bite him in the butt, because just a few days later is when that video came out, and now this post, "Time tells truth," it surely does. There are people commenting on this post now of his. All of these comments are just negative, 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 negative. It's in your face. Like, dude, don't try to play us. We're not dumb. Why would you post that knowing good and well you are guilty of these allegations? Stop. You reap what you sow. All right. So now that we've discussed the public outrage over the releasing of the video footage of this assault video, I was curious as to how, one, this may have affected Cassie as the victim and the survivor, but as well as those other men and women out there currently going through this or have been affected by this personally. So I reached out to a DV survivor to hear from the perspective of someone who has actually gone through a very similar situation of that in which we saw in the assault video. I'm gonna keep her name anonymous, and I'm gonna share her thoughts on here in hopes of helping others. The first question I did ask her was, as a survivor of DV, how does the public viewing of Cassie and Diddy, the assault video, affect you personally? So her response was, when you see it, it's an eye-opener. It wakes you up. It makes you remember what you've been through. You look at her, being Cassie, and you see yourself. It's a time of reflection to realize what you've been through and the toxic familiarity that may have even drawn you to that abuser. If you're unhealed, it hurts and it feels bad to the point where you can't watch it. But if you are healed and set free, you can talk about it in hopes of helping others. That is very interesting, because thankfully, once again, I have not gone through this, but that was hard for me to watch. But I've seen a similar depiction of this. For example, What's Love Got to Do with It? The story of Ike and Tina Turner. Now that was also hard to watch. Two actors act out those assault scenes. But we knew that it wasn't real. It wasn't really them going through that situation. And so I did go on to ask this same DV survivor, what advice would you give those that are going through this type of violence with an abuser? The advice that she gave me was, if you see any signs of it, physical or verbal abuse, leave as soon as possible. Abusers always show who they are. You'll see the signs and oftentimes convince yourself to stay, but love is not supposed to hurt. That is not love. It's control. You cannot control people. I said, everybody doesn't leave as soon as possible. So if they do stay, what does that lead to? Do you just endure it? And so she explained to me, no, it's very dangerous if they continue to stay. And sometimes it gets to a point of desperation where it becomes nearly fatal and you feel like you have no choice but to get away from the situation just to save your life. Before it gets to that point, then you need to have a paper trail, a record that you have been leaving with the authorities so that they can see the patterns. They can see that you've tried. Of course, you have to be smart. A lot of these people are scared for their lives. But at the end of the day, you do need to protect and defend yourself. So for those of you that may be going through this exact situation, or you know somebody, or you just want a reference to resources, I'm going to put that information on the screen for you to be able to contact the National Domestic Violence Hotline. There's a number on there. It is 1-800-799-SAFE, which is 1-800-799-7233. Or you can text BEGIN to 88788. There are resources and help available to you or others that may need it. So, yeah, that was a lot to get through. That was heavy, but it was very important, and it was something I absolutely had to speak on. Now, as I stated earlier, there are two unavoidable topics that I must speak on and address on this podcast episode. So the second topic I'm going to address has also been very controversial in the media, but we got to talk about it. My Kansas City Chiefs. If y'all have not heard, Harrison Butker has been in the news. He is the kicker, the amazing kicker for the Kansas City Chiefs. You know, the winners of the Super Bowl back-to-back 2 years in a row. I know y'all didn't forget. If y'all watch this podcast, y'all done heard me talk about it. But he recently gave a commencement speech at Benedictine College, which is a Catholic college that's located in Atchison, Kansas. Now, I learned a lot watching this speech. I had no idea that Butker was Catholic at all, but he is a faithful, committed Catholic man of God. But just to give y'all a quick little summary, he's receiving public backlash and ridicule for his message that he had for the women graduates as he promoted the value of being a wife, a mother, and a homemaker. A lot of women in the public did not take well to that. They were calling him misogynistic. Some people were like, Kansas City Chiefs needs to drop him from the team. And I was like, hold on. Did y'all listen to the whole thing, or did y'all listen to a clip and make a decision? Y'all already know which option it was. We live in a clickbait society. Let's just be real. And context matters, but people forget about context when they see a 30-second clip or a 2-minute clip and they draw a million conclusions from that, and then they want to write him off, make him lose his contract, and make us lose our best kicker. Did y'all see one kick that he missed last year? No, he didn't miss none. But now, to be fair, if he said something really crazy and off the wall, I would understand. But he is speaking based upon his personal beliefs to a Catholic audience. But like I said, context matters, so I definitely encourage all of you to go and listen to the full 20-minute graduation commencement speech on your own and make a decision from there, because that is exactly what I did. Now, I do know that there is a lot of us out there that are listening to this podcast that are like, girl, just sum it up for me. And that is what I am here to do. So without further ado, let me give y'all some context. Early on into Harrison Butker's 20-minute graduation commencement speech, he lets us know right off the bat that he has a reputation for speaking his mind.
We must always speak and act in charity, but never mistake charity for cowardice. It is safe to say that over the past few years, I've gained quite the reputation for speaking my mind. I never envisioned myself nor wanted to have this sort of a platform, but God has given it to me, so I have no other choice but to embrace it and preach more hard truths about accepting your lane and staying in it.
As you can see, context matters. He has already informed the audience at the beginning of his speech that he is going to stand firm in his biblical beliefs, his spiritual beliefs. Now, at this point, he begins criticizing the current state of the Catholic Church, saying that the Catholic Church is straying from the traditional teachings of Catholicism. He then goes on to further criticize priests who have prioritized hobbies over their congregation, bishops who are cowardly and prioritize popularity over preaching truth. He then goes a step further to say people who criticize church without actively working to improve it are also a part of the problem. You also have to be active in your parish. Parish being congregation if you're a Catholic. I know these things because Catholicism is a branch of Christianity. I'm a Christian, but as a young child, I also attended Catholic school. So I had to attend Mass at school as well as go to Catholic Foundations class, even though I was not a part of that parish or diocese. Yeah, I got a little blend of both worlds. So I know what I'm talking about. Anywho, let's get back to his speech.
Ladies and gentlemen of the class of 2024, you are sitting at the edge of the rest of your lives. Each of you has the potential to leave a legacy that transcends yourselves and this era of human existence. In the small ways, by living out your vocation, you will ensure that God's church continues and the world is enlightened by your example.
So from that clip, I wanted to highlight something key that he said. He said, by living out your vocation, you will ensure that God's church continues and the world is enlightened by your example. Now, I'm hearing this word vocation mentioned in his speech. That is an underlying theme in his commencement speech. Vocation, vocation, vocation. Y'all know me. I run to Google. I get the Webster's definition of vocation, but at the same time, he is speaking to a Catholic audience. He is a Catholic male. So perhaps I should see where vocation is listed in the Bible. Where I saw it in the Bible was actually in Ephesians, King James Version. I call that the original version. Definitely in Baptist church when I was a kid, you start with the King James Version. It says, I, therefore, the prisoner of the Lord, beseech you that ye walk worthy of the vocation wherewith ye are called. I would have read that and been like, what in the world? I don't know what that means. So, me being a millennial, I pull up a side-by-side version of the English Standard Version. The English Standard Version of the exact same verse goes on to read, I, therefore, a prisoner for the Lord, urge you to walk in a manner worthy of the calling to which you have been called. So the word vocation was replaced with calling. I also went to Google, and the word vocation, the Latin meaning of that word is calling. Oh, okay. So when he's talking about vocation, he's not talking about jobs or careers or any of those things that you think of post-graduation. He is talking about God's calling on your life as a Christian, as a Catholic, your purpose in this world. What has he called you to do? Harrison Butker was referring to big picture, not career. Okay? Vocation is mentioned right before he addresses the women specifically. It is the sentence before. Now he gets directly into the message about women.
For the ladies present today, congratulations on an amazing accomplishment. You should be proud of all that you have achieved to this point in your young lives. I want to speak directly to you briefly because I think it is you, the women, who have had the most diabolical lies told to you. How many of you are sitting here now, about to cross this stage, and are thinking about all the promotions and titles you are going to get in your career? Some of you may go on to lead successful careers in the world, but I would venture to guess that the majority of you are most excited about your marriage and the children you will bring into this world. I can tell you that my beautiful wife, Isabel, would be the first to say that her life truly started when she began living her vocation as a wife and as a mother. I'm on this stage today and able to be the man I am because I have a wife who leans into her vocation. I'm beyond blessed with the many talents God has given me, but it cannot be overstated that all of my success is made possible because a girl I met in band class back in middle school would convert to the faith, become my wife, and embrace one of the most important titles of all, homemaker. She's the primary educator to our children. She's the one who ensures I never let football or my business become a distraction from that of a husband and father. She is the person that knows me best at my core, and it is through our marriage that, Lord willing, we will both attain salvation.
All right, okay, and I'm back. Now, some of y'all are reacting a certain way. Some of y'all are like, oh my gosh, the audacity. He got his nerve. Oh, he thinks she lived for him. Okay. I'm even a little hesitant to even say this on my podcast because I've listened to the opinions of others. Of course, I'm always open to hearing others' perspectives. And I don't hear many people out there with my opinion. But excuse me, I'm speaking. I have to speak on it. I have to say it. I did not see any error or fault in what he was saying. To me, especially because he's relating this commencement speech to vocations, God's calling on your life, he is focusing more on the core values and the relational fulfillment in alignment with one's vocation. I feel like I am so qualified to speak on this because I went to college. I met my husband in college. We graduated. He graduated with his master's. I graduated with my bachelor's same day. 2 weeks later, we got married. I have been in corporate America. I have 2 daughters. I've been a mother. I've worked and been a mother. I've taken time off and not worked and been a mother. And then I've also been a mother, homemaker, and entrepreneur. I have seen all sides of the coin. And when I tell you from personal experience, because I feel like that is what he was trying to drive home. The moment I graduated, the moment I got a career job outside of college, the moment I got a different job after that, or maybe got a promotion, none of those moments fulfilled me the way that I was fulfilled when I gave birth to my children. Those are the things that I value in life. I have worked hard to climb up the career ladder, several times over. There were times where I was working so hard and I was stressed out and I was just really trying to prove myself and I really got to get to this point and maybe we can make more money and this and that. But then when it came time to help my kids with homework, I have a lower tolerance for that because I don't have the energy. I'm working overtime. Man, now I feel bad because mom guilt is a real thing. Wife guilt is also a real thing. So I understood it. I understood exactly what he said. I don't think that he was taking away from the working woman whatsoever, but he was just saying to make sure that you focus on your vocations in life as well too. Whether God has called you to be a mother, a wife, whatever God has called you to do to make a difference in this world, whatever responsibility he's bestowed upon you, those are the things that truly bring you value and purpose in this world. A lot of times, homemakers or people who make sacrifices for the betterment of their family and children get overlooked. And so the one time they do get highlighted, the world has a problem with it and they want to shut him down about it. But yeah, let me not go on and rant about this any further because he does continue on in his speech to explain exactly why he gave that message to women specifically.
I say all of this to you because I have seen it firsthand, how much happier someone can be when they disregard the outside noise and move closer and closer to God's will in their life. Isabel's dream of having a career might not have come true, but if you asked her today if she has any regrets on her decision, she would laugh out loud without hesitation and say, heck no.
Out of that entire clip, the part that I wanted to highlight, he said, if you asked her today if she has any regrets on her decision, she would say, heck no. So many people are up in arms and they're laughing and they're making a joke about it and they're like, oh, this misogynistic prick. Oh my gosh, she's saying I am who I am because my wife stays at home. She educates our kids. She takes care of our kids. She helps keep me in check. I'm so proud to have her. I think that is beautiful that he would shout his wife out for the contributions that she has made to their family and their marriage in this moment. But what is most important is that he said that it was her decision. He didn't force her to do it. She also once did have a dream of going to get a job, but she made the decision to walk in her vocation as a mother, as a wife, and she does not regret it. So I'm like, what in the world are people up in arms with? Let's just be real for a second. I know if I took a poll, there is a large percentage of women out there that, if given the opportunity, if they had a husband that was making boatloads of money, I mean millions, even billions, money was not a thought or an issue. There are a lot of women out there, including myself, that would choose not to go to a job, a 9 to 5, every single day. For what? If money is not the issue, there are different things in life that can fulfill me, whether it be entrepreneur, whether it be your children, whether it be traveling, whether it be just living a stress-free life. A lot of people are ridiculing this man for saying what he said, but a lot of women out here would love to be in a position to just quit their job tomorrow. Okay, somebody talk to me. Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Potomac, Atlanta. We don't see a lot of these women going to work every single day. We see them going to lunch. We see them going on vacation. We see them shopping. We see them building new friendships with others. We see them just turn a hobby into a business and make money, and they feel great about it. We see them doing charities. We see them starting foundations. We see them making a difference in the world because they have the financial capacity to be able to do so. Maybe they get their funds from doing the show, but some of them, they have husbands that are well off. There are a lot of women out there that would love to be in that position. So I absolutely hate the fact that there's so many people out here fronting, and they're like, don't front on the working woman. Nobody was fronting. He was just giving a kudos to his wife and saying that there is more out of life. And if you want to focus on your vocation, the things that actually do fulfill you, a job can drop you at any second unless you own the company. The moment that job drops you and you're unfulfilled, then what? You still have your faith, your beliefs. There's more options out there. Anywho, what I did want to point out is that a lot of people focused on Harrison Butker talking to the women, but nobody pointed out the fact that Harrison Butker also spoke to the men. Actually, before he transitioned to the men, he said, "It is only in the past few years that I have grown encouraged to speak more boldly and directly because, as I mentioned earlier, I have leaned into my vocation as a husband and father and as a man."
To the gentleman here today, part of what plagues our society is this lie that has been told to you that men are not necessary in the home or in our communities. As men, we set the tone of the culture, and when that is absent, disorder, dysfunction, and chaos set in. This absence of men in the home is what plays a large role in the violence we see all around the nation. Other countries do not have nearly the same absentee father rates as we find here in the US, and a correlation could be made in their drastically lower violence rates as well. Be unapologetic in your masculinity, fighting against the cultural emasculation of men. Do hard things. Never settle for what is easy. You might have a talent that you don't necessarily enjoy, but if it glorifies God, maybe you should lean into that over something that you might think suits you better. I speak from experience as an introvert who now finds myself as an amateur public speaker and an entrepreneur, something I never thought I'd be when I received my industrial engineering degree. The road ahead is bright. Things are changing, society is shifting, and people, young and old, are embracing tradition.
Did you see any reference to him talking about the men climbing the career ladder? No, it was based on their vocation, their place in this world according to God's calling on their life as men. Furthermore, Harrison Butker goes on to commend Benedictine College for their commitment to traditional Catholicism. He also addresses the entire class of 2024, the graduating class, and he starts it off by saying, "As you prepare to enter into the workforce." That was a blanket statement to both the men and women of the graduating class. He then goes on to basically tell them to embrace their vocations and to live according to their Catholic faith. In saying all that, let's go ahead and wrap up his speech.
For a life without God is not a life at all, and the cost of salvation is worth more than any career. I'm excited for the future, and I pray that something I have said will resonate as you move on to the next chapter of your life. I know that my message today had a little less fluff than is expected for these speeches, but I believe that this audience and this venue is the best place to speak openly and honestly about who we are and where we all want to go. which is heaven.
Once again, context matters. He knew exactly who he was speaking to. He was speaking to a specific audience that is assumed to have those exact same beliefs. He wasn't going in there like, I'm about to offend everybody in here. He wasn't speaking to the general public. He was speaking to fellow Catholics. Benedictine College, they stand on their traditional Catholicism. They don't waver. Now, there was a few nuns after the fact at the college. They was offended, but y'all can go online and read their statements. I think they were looking to be offended. Because once you listen to his speech in its entirety, you realize that he said that speech at the right time and at the right place. And there was actually a lot of people that were receptive to it. And there are some people that are like, hey, I agree with some of the stuff he said in the speech, and other parts I don't agree with, but I do think it was a good message and a good speech. And you don't have to agree 1000% with somebody, but if you understand the context, the audience, their perspective, their personal experience with it, then you understand why they gave that speech. So I think that some people are just unfairly outraged. They just want to be outraged. But obviously, many people support him because breaking news, this was on CBS.com. As far as Harrison Butker's NFL jersey, it says Harrison Butker's jersey becomes Chiefs bestseller after controversial commencement speech. So obviously there's a whole gang of people that agree with him 1000% to the point where they're like, I'm not just going to speak my truth on social media. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I'm going to spend them dollars and I'm going to let him benefit off of this. So money talks, and that is how people are showing their support. But yeah, that's enough about that. We didn't have two really hard topics this episode, so let me go ahead and zoom through these quick wrap-ups so I can get y'all on up out of here. Thank you so much for making it to this point in the podcast, and please comment below. Now, quick wrap-ups. I don't even have time to get into it, but y'all know Drake and Kendrick, they was in some rap beef. It was a battle. Now, if you ask me, I believe that Kendrick won every battle, and ultimately he came out with Meet the Grams and Not Like Us back to back, and he won the war. Why did Drake even go through this with him? Why? Like, trying to strike a chord and it's probably a minor? Like, what? Yeah, I absolutely love Kendrick Lamar. Absolutely love Kendrick Lamar. Supposedly he has an album coming out this summer, and yeah, I'm sure he got even more fans now. And poor Drake, he just should have never entered this war. He should have bowed out gracefully, like some of the other rappers that chose to do so. But anywho, no need to waste more time on that. Let's get into the holy stuff, okay? We need to cleanse this podcast episode. Y'all, Kirk Franklin, the reunion tour, part 2 is coming back to a city near you. Specifically, y'all know I'm in Kansas City. And if y'all watch my podcast episode, y'all know just how much I enjoyed that last reunion tour. So I will be at this one on September 17th. It will be featuring Kirk Franklin, Fred Hammond, the Clark sisters. Now y'all know how I feel, okay? I ain't gonna hate. I feel a little bit better because Kiki Sheard is going to be there. Never would have made it. Marvin Sapp, as well as Yolanda Adams. So just hits after hits after hits. This should be a good, holy time, okay? And we still gonna be, dancing to all the Kirk Franklin music. And don't judge us, okay? Moving right along. The quote of the day is by a man by the name of Abraham Maslow. The quote of the day is, in any given moment, we have two options: to step forward into growth or step back into safety. Make your choice, choose your pick. Y'all, this has been another great episode of Excuse Me, I'm Speaking. Please be sure to follow me on Instagram at SheIsTwinkle1. Subscribe, like this video. Follow me on YouTube at SheIsTwinkle. And until next time, I love you all. Bye-bye.